Oh, Plow.
The darker side of things. The darker side of things. The darker side of things. The darker
With Woodstock and LJ.
What up, Woodstock?
Hey, what's up, LJ?
Hey, you're listening to the darker side of things. We putting it down real quick. Hey, I'm doing all right, bro.
Oh, me as well.
Feeling good on this gloomy, rainy ass Saturday night. It's a little nasty out there, but it's good.
This
Shit.
is fair weather for Oklahoma.
It
always rains like this during the fair.
Hey, but this means we're getting closer and closer to football season.
That and tornadoes.
I'm ready for them. I'm down with it. I'm for the tornadoes.
Oh yeah.
I like it. I can dig
You
it.
got to being from Oklahoma.
Just don't come here. I'll watch it from afar.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'll watch some TV coverage of it. But I don't want to lose my power or no shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just go around me. Don't hit nobody. Hey, and if you're in the way, get to cover, duck, run, get the fuck out the way. Do whatever you got to do.
I have a theory that they built up the buildings downtown taller so that it would break up the wind.
Try to act as a diversion.
Yeah.
If it just kind of, if I get my shit in the way up there in the clouds, I might be able to break it up.
Yeah.
That's what you think about?
If you notice, like
little
they don't
cloud buster
really hit-
buildings.
Yeah, they don't really hit over here as much as they used to. Ever
Hey,
since they started building.
wait till I seen some movies though,
Mm-hmm.
but those are just movies too. Real life, you're right. I've never seen it hit a metroplex like that has buildings like that. But I don't know that means it can't. You know,
I think it just decreases the likelihood of it happening.
if we keep living, we'll be able to test that theory probably here in Oklahoma.
I don't want to be here.
I feel you.
Like, I always told myself I never wanted to die where I was born.
Where you gonna go?
Anywhere but here. I want to be able to travel and say, nigga, I left this place and actually went out and did something.
And did
somewhere
something.
else.
I feel you.
Versus, like, everybody I know, somehow they leave and come back and die here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I haven't even left for an extended amount of time. I've left for a short amount, but I'm back. I'm
Like,
here.
even-
I like Oklahoma City though, just for my lifestyle because I like to go out and do outdoor shit, fishing and shit like that. So there's plenty of places to do that. So the weather's good for it. I mean, you might have to duck and dodge a thunderstorm or a tornado or some hail or some shit.
Oh,
but-
yeah, for sure. And the random cougar or whatever. That
Right,
might be out.
right, or a snake.
Mhm.
Hell, there's all kind of weird ass animals here in Oklahoma. Just to be honest with you, I see them fucking otters or whatever the fuck they are
You
swimming
see,
in the river.
These people in Edmond found a black bear in their tree.
I saw that.
in the
I hate they killed that bear, but I mean, you kind of. I mean,
And
if
it's
it ain't-
like you could just nudge him, like, "Hey,
Right.
what?"
I mean, and if he's not gonna cooperate and come, I mean, which I don't expect a fucking bear to do anyway.
Mhm.
For those that don't
for
know
a
what we're
meal.
talking about, a couple days ago in Norman, Oklahoma, there was a bear in somebody's backyard, and the police was called. And one thing led to another, and the police shot the black bear. Ain't that a bitch?
I hope they got to make some jerky or something out of it.
They released body cam. I saw memes and shit. Damn, the black bear should have known something. Should have known that they weren't gonna survive. It should have just gave up and complied.
That's fucked up.
That's some shit, ain't it?
That's fucked up, but damn. So
Should have
true.
just complied.
Shit.
That's it. But that's some fucked up shit though. Shout out to the bear, rest in heaven. Hopefully somebody did make some jerky out of you or something.
Or at least, made a rug or something. out
Right,
there.
right. I hope
Supposed to, use.
I hope the bear went to use, gave to some people that needed some meat or something. I mean, to be real, people eat bear
Yeah.
all the time. I hear it's actually pretty damn good.
Yeah. Bear, alligator, squirrel.
Seems weird to me, and I ain't even trying to fuck with no bear, man. I'm down for hunting. I've been hunting, been deer hunting. I've never successfully killed anything, but I've been out.
never been hunting.
I've been bow hunting, crossbow hunting, both. I've never went out there with a rifle. You know, I'd rather do with you know, the harder option. You know, where at least the animal has a chance, less of a chance with a gun. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want them to have a chance.
Well, depends on what I'm doing.
No, I was like, man, if I'm trying to, hey,
Depends on what I'm doing.
I'm gonna hit this and scare everything else
because
away
what
from here.
because what I want to hunt for is I want to hunt for gene control and for meat. You know what I mean? To make sure that the herd is fine. I'll take the ones that don't need to be in there that are polluting the gene pool, like the older bucks. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking for, or maybe one that's got deformities or something that will deteriorate the bloodline versus help it. Because it's about conservation. People don't look at it like that, but more money goes to wildlife from hunting than anywhere else. Damn, that was you texting me.
You just now got that?
Yeah.
Damn.
Stop texting me, Woodstock. I know you're here, brother.
Yeah, I was like, I did that almost 30 minutes ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, hell, we've been talking for a minute, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. But yeah, shit. Got derailed by a text message. See, that wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault.
Hey, I did it. I time traveled, man.
What you believe in that?
Time travel?
Yeah, you think it's possible?
I think anything is possible these days.
All right.
They've been fucking with particle accelerators and shit.
Right.
Like, there ain't no telling what
Right.
the hell they've messed with.
I feel you. Trust me. What do you think about aliens? Because
Again,
the
it's a
Pentagon,
possibility.
the Pentagon is releasing shit now. Like in the middle of everybody worried about so much other shit, they release. Yeah, Pentagon knows about these UFOs. We ain't sure what the fuck it is. Now back to back to this politician.
But see, I've also heard of Project Bluebeam, where they artificially, supposedly, can beam objects into the sky that look real.
Really?
Yeah.
Some like holographic type shit.
Basically.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised about that either.
Well, that's what they're saying. They're trying to possibly stage
but
a UFO.
That sounds like some gaslighting type, plausible deniability type shit. You know what I'm saying?
It is. But the thing is, real life is stranger than fiction sometimes, man.
You're right. I mean,
especially when it comes to the military.
Don't believe your lying eyes. You didn't see it. This is the explanation for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that shit bothers the fuck out of me.
Roswell, prime example.
Huh?
I said Roswell was a prime example.
Elaborate. Tell me what you mean.
As far as like all those people that say, hey, back in Roswell there was this alien ship that crashed, and then the government never officially wanted to recognize it.
So, what is the official standing on that? It's just didn't happen.
No, I think they did actually release some documents during the Snowden leaks.
Okay.
about this stuff, yeah.
So, and that led to the Area 51 shit,
Mm-hmm.
where they was talking about storming Area 51 last year or whatever.
Man, that was the dumbest shit ever. They weren't going to get nowhere near close to that.
It was a good meme.
It was.
That's all it was, because you'd have been a bunch of dead motherfuckers.
My question is, what if the president of the United States tried to storm Area 51? Like, they wouldn't let him go, and he just like, fuck it, I'm about to run across there anyway. Are they still going to shoot him?
Probably. What you think? Do you?
I mean, he is the commander-in-chief, so technically he is their commander.
But he's also given the order to to shoot anybody that disobeys this order. You know what I mean? He's also got to uphold that. So,
But can he overturn that order since he's the one that...
Now, while bullets flying by his head, he can't.
This is true.
I think you better make that shit up after, before he go trying to storm Area 51.
Hey, I'm sending a memo from Air Force One. Hey, I'm right above y'all. Don't shoot.
All this alien shit, man. I'm digging it. I wanna see more about it. I'm skeptical as far as what our depiction and our thought of alien is. You know what I mean? And for two, we haven't even explored the water yet. How do we know this shit's not coming from the water? and they got this little craft that comes up, spies on us or whatever, and it dives back deep down when we can't see it. We don't know.
Well, there's also the conspiracy theory about creatures that live under us. Have you
Hey,
heard about that?
conspiracy theory Saturday, bitches. Welcome to the darker side of things.
Hey, this is true.
Right?
That is a pretty dark thing.
Hey, we talking about the shits, man. Whatever.
No.
We just want to talk about shit. And right now we talk about aliens and center of the earth people. And that's what I'm for it. Let's do it.
Well, see, I don't know how much I believe about that. There's a story about some kids that were on a field trip in Malta to the tunnels that they have under the city.
Oh yeah, Lola's trying to join the podcast. Shout out to Lola.
Hey, Lola. And supposedly these kids went down a wrong path and they got stuck under the city of Malta. And no one ever found them. They just heard the kids
Malta.
screaming.
Point me into the world. Where in the world Malta is? Like where in
Europe.
the world? Oh, sorry, that Carmen Sandiego shit. Y'all might not know nothing about that.
Carmen, I haven't heard this. It's like 20 years.
I was young then. Well, I wasn't that young, but I was young enough. Some of y'all motherfuckers might have been really young.
I think she was going out the door like as I was leaving elementary. But yeah, no, supposedly these kids went missing and no one ever heard from them again. And they thought they heard them being murdered by people underground. And I'm like, okay.
All right, so there's no evidence. Where's Malta at? What part of the world?
It's in Europe.
Europe.
I can pull it up exactly.
Yeah.
Let the people know exactly.
Use
where
your
the hell it's
internets. Yeah. I know we got plenty of internets around. Let's use some internets.
at. Malta.
Why are you doing that? I don't know what I'm gonna say to y'all. I'm just gonna say something to you. I'm just looking at Lola jumping around. Come on, where Malta at?
It is. Let me zoom out. They did zoom me all the way.
I need to get Jamie from the Joe Rogan podcast
So, look.
to Google some shit for me.
It's right there.
Oh, so it's off Italy.
Yep.
So it's off the Cape of Italy.
Like a
Off-
little bitty
well,
small
off of
ass
Sicily.
island. Yeah.
Okay. Hell, that boot looked like he's kicking the shit out of him, so it might have been some people in there in the middle.
That's what I'm saying. It's just that little tiny dot right
So it's
south
just a
of
little
it.
tiny island?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit crazy.
Yeah. Shit, what do you think about them tribes that have been unvisited and shit, where ain't nobody been to them?
You know, I wonder, like, how those people have developed and stayed as everyone else has progressed, like, light years ahead of them as far as technology and stuff goes.
I mean, we don't even know. I mean, I assume they have fire. You know what I mean?
But the fact that you even have to ask that, it's like, holy shit.
Right.
To grow your whole life and not know about an iPhone or social media or any of
How
this
about you just caught a deal where you was born at?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just was fortunate. Some people not.
You got to live a simple life and enjoy it.
Yep. Some people not so fortunate. I don't know that I would want that simple life because I enjoy searching for information.
But see, it's because you've been in a society
Right.
where you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I didn't know anything about it, of course,
Exactly.
this is what I know, and this is what I love, which is, same now. I mean,
But then again, the Amish, they actually have the option to stay.
They
when
just
come to
reject
visit.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's those people too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can reject it.
So I would always wonder, like, damn, like, why would you reject staying out here with everyone else?
What is their benefit for doing it though? What is
Well, that's the flip side. Is because, like, damn, you leaving your people behind. You ain't got no money, ain't no family, nothing. Just.
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak on people's beliefs. People's beliefs fuck me up a little bit.
Oh, true.
I mean, we talked a little bit about that in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is episode 2, by the way. I don't even think we ever said that, but officially,
Yeah, episode 2, guys.
episode 2. But yeah.
The kind of Amish thing kind of threw me off. I'm like, damn, them niggas really got to choose and like, hey,
Shit is crazy though to
I
make
come out
that
here,
choice.
I can't come back.
to have the mentality to make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And hell, mentality. I happen to have the definition of mentality up on my screen in front of me.
For the victim, yeah.
Woodstock. What would you mind reading to the people what the definition of mentality is?
The definition. Oh. The screenplay. All right, there we go. A person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action.
Well, that's victim. So
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
I didn't,
That's
the
the definition
mentality,
of victim.
yeah.
So
The characteristic, attitude, or mind or way of thinking of a person or group.
okay. And then, victim mentality would be one way. That's part of why that's there.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of the more common ways to use it. But it's about mentality, and the Amish people have a mentality that they're going to reject modern society or whatever their mentality is. I'm not all that sure of Amish people's beliefs, but
Damn, we do be stereotyping the fuck out of them too.
yeah,
Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever met or
I
know
don't,
anyone.
right. I don't. So I don't know what their beliefs are. But if in fact you do reject modern stuff, I don't understand why your mentality is to do that.
No, what's fucked up is I was driving on the highway in Texas, right? I passed an Amish person with a donkey and a cart.
How you know it was Amish? How
whole outfit.
are you stereotyping this person?
No technology. It was like this screamed every Amish documentary I've ever seen.
So horse and buggy,
Bro, going like 5 miles an hour
on the side of the street with a little
Yeah,
with a
this
little
little
donkey.
kid still in the 1800 clothes in the back. I was like, holy
The
shit.
dude had the little curls coming, the little.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I was like, if I were these kids, I would be so fucking mad looking at these cars going by this fucking horse and buggy shit going down the street.
I mean, how do you think that is to be that kid though?
Hey, it's one thing if I'm in the middle of the woods, but nigga, you got me on the side of the highway. Like
we driving, we in this horse and buggy, and we watching this goddamn car drive by. What the?
And I mean, it's tons of them because they was on the side of a big ass state. I think it was the I-35 going south on a horse and buggy.
Do you have that discussion with your brother or sister when you get home?
I don't know.
Like, what is that? What are
that?
those?
What are these loud things going by? There's people in them.
Why don't we have one of those? Why do they get to go so much faster than we do?
Shit is crazy. It's all that horsepower they got in there.
Literally, the one horse.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
That's some shit.
It really is.
I always think about Weird Al whenever I think about Amish. That Amish Paradise.
Yep.
That's what I think about. If you haven't seen that video, check that video out.
Coolio Parade. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But do you think, like, those people, as they leave, if they do choose to leave, do you think they end up developing a victim mentality? Like, oh, I'm away from my people. I have to figure out how to survive now type shit.
I don't know. I know a lot of people do get that mentality, and it's pretty fucking annoying. It's sad a lot of times because there's really not a lot you can do about it because it's somebody's mind state.
So, to tie this into a totally separate scenario, the children that were at the border, do you think they're going to develop a victim mentality? Because, I mean, I'm sure we're going to have to pay them reparations at some point.
I think it depends on where they end up,
gotcha.
Truthfully. What is their future? Because right now it's hard to say. Right now they are victims. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which you read, a person harmed, injured, killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely that's the definition of what's happening to them.
They're reporting rampant sexual abuse, people going missing, like all kinds of shit.
Hell, they didn't even ask to be there in the first place.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that shit's so complex, and for you to make a decision just one way or the other, keep these people out or let them all in, either way, without talking through the nuances, is stupid to me. I don't understand somebody that would refuse to acknowledge that this is not a black and white, one side or the other situation. This is, and which most things are not that way.
I would just as soon just send them back to the other side of the border than leave them in cages.
I agree. But why can't we build aid stations on that side of the border? You know what I mean? Why can't we put, we're putting so much money into containing them. Why not put that money in towards aid towards right around that border, even if you're keeping it on their side of it?
Yeah,
I mean,
you could develop like a little small town of just immigrants
right,
coming in.
right, and they're still in Mexico. They're not. They're not in America. They're. I mean, we're gonna have to make a treaty with Mexico. They're our fucking neighbors, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be honest with us, they got our six. You know what I mean? Because they could easily just let somebody come run through us from the south. But we gotta have a relationship where they not gonna do that. You know what I mean? And make treaties with them. We can set up board. We do this shit in other fucking countries all the fucking time. Go take over a section, call it a no-fly zone, no travel zone type shit. Why can't we do that here and make it better for our people and the people that are around us?
I do wonder how much the CIA's involvement in South America, like during the last 50, 60 years, affects our relationship.
Have you heard about the Freeway Ricky Ross, the original? I mean, he talks a lot about that in his stories. If y'all haven't checked that out,
Snowfall is based off of.
Yeah, check that out. The real Rick Ross. Check it out.
Essentially, I mean, this is a proven fact. This isn't a conspiracy theory. The U.S. government did help smuggle all of this drugs in.
Right.
Off the bracket to them, but of course, it was their agents
on the backs of innocent people or people that they manipulated to do things for them, for what I would assume is either profit or they had other motives. Now it depends on who you talk to, about what those motives were, and they've got enough plausible deniability where they can say, nah, this is not what it was. We was doing it for this reason. So y'all just made that up, you know.
Yeah.
They've left them enough of an out to where they can step back and say, y'all don't have any evidence of that because
it wasn't us. Yeah.
Right. So
see, it's odd that history repeats itself because if you remember, like in the 1800s, Britain was smuggling opium and shit into China.
You want to know why history repeats itself?
People don't know that it happened before.
People is people. We're humans. We do shit that we do. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're doing anything different than when we were back in the days where there was barely societies. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We have more technology. We still have the same similar thoughts. You know, maybe our thought processes are more evolved now, just because of information we have available. I mean, today you have to be willfully ignorant to not know something if you want to know about it. You know what I mean? This period. The information is at your fingertips. A huge portion of people have a cell phone. Children of baby ages have cell phones and know how to search and Google shit better than I do in some cases. Know how to play these games better than I do for sure.
And if you don't have one, they do have government assistant programs too, so you can get at least a little cheap one. So.
Which that's a whole nother story, man. I hate that they use that as a derogatory fucking deal against people of color, because statistically people of color are more likely to get those type of phones, and so it's looked at as a derogatory. You know what I mean? It's terrible. People look at people like that. I don't understand it.
Again, and it can help develop into a victim mentality.
Yep. But how does it do that, and how can you prevent going to that victim mentality on it though?
I think people just have to be consciously aware of the stigmas that they place on certain things. Because, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. When I did have one of them government type phones, I wasn't on the actual servers, but just had a phone because my main one that broke, so I was waiting for it to get fixed.
Yeah, I've had a government phone.
But it's like you could just tell in your interactions with people when they see you pull that shit out.
Yeah.
It's instant like, oh, okay. They peg you down a few steps.
Yeah, they look down on you.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's just so you can have a life. Oh, I was in a Facebook argument not too long ago. It wasn't an argument. It was a discussion. But this person had said, because somebody had made a post, they were homeless. But they were texting and making posts on Facebook, and somebody said, "Well, why do you even have a phone if you're homeless type shit? And I'm like, wait a minute. Why does being homeless and having a phone have anything to do with each other? Number one, there are these programs that allow people to get phones.
Mm-hmm.
So why? And then number two, why are you even speaking on this person's business? That's the problem. People always want to speak on somebody else, and that's just the problem. It's the problem with our society. You don't know how to mind your motherfucking business.
But that's how people get paid, is to spread their business so other people can mind it.
I know. That's
It's a catch-22.
I blame the internet for our problems.
I feel like they just further exacerbated what was already there.
Yeah, it did, and that brings us back to what we were talking about. Those people that evolved without it and continue to. Because hell, I grew up. I'm old enough to where I grew up without internet. I think you're old enough.
I was
where
right on that edge. Yeah. By the time I hit like 12, 13.
Yeah, you're old enough to know what it's like to the internet don't exist. It's not even a thing. Whenever the first internet was on a little disc and you pop it in and you hear some
AOL?
fucking you hear some fucking noises and some bleeps and some bloops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that ain't showing that much age, but it's showing enough to some people because.
Or
like my kids, I don't think they realize that shit existed.
When people get on the phone, hey, I'm on the internet. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah, get cut off.
Take 2 hours to download something.
Right. Off LimeWire, stealing people's music and shit.
Or you get rickrolled. Oh, I used to hate that shit. For those who don't know, just to give y'all a little history lesson with LimeWire, sometimes you go to download a song, and instead of the song you chose and clicked on, instead you get "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Right. Right.
You're like, what the hell?
Yep.
This is not what I chose.
Yep. There's a couple of songs like that. Yeah. And then it'd be a clip. It don't even be a whole song.
Yeah, they just give you those couple seconds. You're like, you little dirty raggedy bitches.
They started doing that shit with movies too. Whenever you get movies off LimeWire. For those of you that don't know what LimeWire is, it's an old downloading platform, pirating platform. You can just download damn near anything really, because you can get apps off there. You can get all kind of shit. I know they got banned at one point. What was that other one that got banned? Napster.
Napster, yep. Them, Frostwire.
Yep, Frostwire, yep.
Yeah, a bunch of them.
Yeah. Pirate Bay used to get.
I think Pirate Bay's still up, but I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah, I don't like torrents, man. Too much shit can go wrong with that.
I feel you. That shit crazy though.
But yeah, shit. Most of everything we talked about all is tying in together though. It's such a beautiful thing. I
know. I'm like, damn, the little threads that connect everything in life.
We're gonna weave some shit together for y'all. I don't even know we're weaving, but I'm glad y'all with us.
Oh yeah. Thank y'all for joining us with episode 2 again. We appreciate your sticking it with us through this time.
Yep. Episode 3 will be out soon too, so stay for that. 4, 5, 6, whatever. We're gonna keep going.
Well, since we are on the victim mentality.
Yep.
As it relates to black people with the victim mentality, how do you think that we can get past this?
Let's talk about definitions.
Okay.
Let's talk about what led to that, what has caused it, what is the root cause of that problem. What would you say caused that? Well, I mean, we can say slavery, you know.
I mean, I would say slavery, but honestly, I would say it's more so education.
Well, of course.
Because our people after slavery were doing wonderful. Like, they were like, fuck, we going to have to do it ourselves. We have to build our own stuff. And then we got attacked. Honestly,
if you ask me, it started whenever one person looked at another person as if they had no value.
Exactly.
And that they were worth as much as livestock, or, you know, I think it started from then. It would, I mean, is saying feeling sorry. I don't want to say feeling sorry for yourself, because that's not what I mean. So I don't want to convey that. But damn, just how does it develop? I guess is the question that I'm trying to ask. How does that mentality develop? How do we get there?
Well, to give you my perspective, sort of, um, when I was going through elementary and middle school, and this is to give y'all my age range, last 20 years or so. So you only get the kumbaya Martin Luther King stuff in school, but they
Yeah.
don't really tell you anything else outside of that unless you go look for it yourself.
Well, and then anytime you want to reflect on it, or you even use slavery as a rebuttal, you get a couple of answers. Either
Mm-hmm.
that was so long ago, we
Mm-hmm.
stopped it. Why are you bringing this up? You know, or you get what else? I know there's shit, you can get a
You know
bunch of
what's
different
crazy?
things.
My great 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 aunt was the oldest living slave in Arkansas, and she died in
Oh,
like the
really?
60s or 70s. I have a clipping of a news article about it.
I mean, my thing is they act like, when I say they, people that act like those times still don't have an impact today.
It's only like 3 generations ago.
Look at this. I was born in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Crow was abolished in 1965, 15 years before I was born. My parents were born in 1955, meaning they lived through Jim Crow America in the
Mm-hmm.
South, in Oklahoma, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Where shit, they KKK was strong in Oklahoma. Hell, the Tulsa massacres. You just right up the street. It's not that far.
Mm-hmm. Just
Dr-
hour and
Yep.
hour and a half.
Yeah, it's not that far. That shit happened here, and and my parents being a black and white mixed couple. You know what I mean? A couple of an interracial couple.
Mm-hmm.
That damn sure caused problems. I know, especially I was born in '80, so through the '70s they was together. You know what I mean? And that those times still were rough. They were getting better in terms of the laws
Mm-hmm.
that were being passed. But to think that in 15 years, by the time I was born, that those mentalities had gone away from
No.
you know what I mean? It's impossible to me. There's no way you can kill a mentality in 15 years. I don't think something that's deeply rooted. I don't see it.
I'm glad you said that because that ties into coded language.
It does. So
Mm-hmm.
it causes you to take a step back and change how you present what you're saying to where only certain people can understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dog whistling.
dog
another
whistle
term.
is a huge thing. There's some people out there that will admit it on the alt right that this is what they done. I've watched videos. I don't want to say any names. I don't want to bring any shine on them. I don't want anybody to go visit them.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to look it up, look it up. I'm not gonna say any names. But there's alt right people that are out in the media putting out long YouTube videos having debates of things such as racial separation and ethno states and things like that. And they'll tell you you can't just come out and say fuck that nigger anymore. You know what I mean? You got to say something like the coded language, the urban, or
At risk youth.
or at risk youth, or they went with colored back in the day and shit like that. That was lightly veiled. Is better than just the outright slur.
Now they call us African Americans when most of us have never been
Right,
African.
but
Like,
but
what are
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get the point that I'm making here, because there's a number of terms that can fall under that umbrella, and they use that shit in the media. The shit is all through politics, and it's designed to reach out to a demographic. You know what I mean? That's where the dog whistle thing comes in. Only certain people understand, which is it's controversial to say. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with it. They'll call you a conspiracy theorist or saying you have no evidence, which is fair. Because they leave themselves enough plausible deniability to where you can't say beyond a shadow of doubt and with evidence or proof that something they said is quote
Was it-
racist. You know what I mean, or whatever.
Like, what do you mean? That's
right.
Not, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean their thought wasn't conveyed with what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the important piece. And I think that when we want to attack that issue about racism, I think you need to take that into consideration and watch how you respond to these people, because it leaves them in the out and it makes us look stupid. Is all I see, especially when you get into a debate type situation with them or an argument type situation with them. It's not a good look, because you can't attack them in the way you want to, and you can't throw personal attacks at them, ad hominem attacks.
Or then you have to lose a debate doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you automatically lose as soon as you get to doing that. You're done. You have no credible argument at that point. So don't let them bait you. Is really what it comes down to.
Yep, and then from there you have to watch out for getting your emotions involved, because sometimes you get angry and you just start going off.
It's hard to not deal and act on emotions though. It's hard.
For some people.
It takes practice.
Yeah, it does take a lot of practice.
It takes practice, but once you begin to do it, you can do it. I'm dealing with a situation personally today. I won't air that out because I'm heated about it, but I'm not gonna air it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna act on the emotion to speak on it. So you know what I mean.
To whoever it applies, you know what the deal
You know what the fuck. Yeah, you know what the fuck.
So, see? Coded language.
Yep.
That person knows.
Right. It's directed at a specific demographic.
Mm-hmm.
So.
If the shoe fits, goddamn.
And so let's bring in gaslighting into this, so because I think that's a big thing that happens, and I wanna see how that plays into the victim mentality part of it. You know what I mean? So.
Well, see, I think coded language is a form of gaslighting.
I think
to
it's
black people, or people in color in general, because it's like we know y'all talking about us.
I think coded language is the tool that is used to gaslight. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because to gaslight means to manipulate someone by psychological means into questioning their own sanity. Mm-hmm. You know, don't believe what your eyes saw.
Somebody just hit you upside the head like, that wasn't me.
Right.
What do you mean?
I did it because I love you. Why are you making me do this? Mm-hmm. You know, those type of things. You know, that shit. You know, and that. The problem is, a lot of it comes to everyday life, and we miss it. And some people are just so quick to attack. Rather than give the position some thought and look at a different way to look at it.
I have definitely noticed that a lot of people are a lot more closed-minded. Have
you ever been presented with the position of 13% of the population creates 50 or causes 52% of the crime? Mm-hmm. Have you ever been given that argument as to why black people are the way they are and this and that? Have you heard this one?
I have not.
So, it's FBI statistics. If you categorize it like that, it will show you that. But if you look at the table before, it breaks it down into a different category. So, the one table, I'd have to pull up the FBI statistics. I'm going to do that. Talk to the people real quick so I can speak a little better on it. So,
as far as that, I mean, I've heard that specific thing, but I've never actually looked at the actual tables themselves. Because just off the number alone, it's like, that makes zero sense that you would say that 13% of the people make up half of the crime. Like, the numbers just don't match up unless you're lying about how many people are really here. You know what I mean?
Well, all right, so.
Oh. They've got a nice little spreadsheet on the FBI.
Yeah.
Hey, side note, while you're looking at this.
Okay.
Bro, at work, I sent a screenshot to somebody, right?
Yeah.
And I had been downloading files from the FBI website, because they send out their old stuff, so I'll download copies of old reports and stuff just to check them out. And in the screenshot, it shows black extremists. KKK. I'm like, oh shit.
Hold on. It says what now?
It says like these folders that I had downloaded them into that I had separated them by. So one of them was black extremists, the other one was like KKK, and then like Irish mafia, and I was like, oh shit.
All on your work computer?
Yes.
Oops.
Well, it was on my flash drive, but it pops up in the quick access thing on the side. And I was like, God damn, I hope this dude don't be like, who am I talking to? What is this dude doing?
Right.
But yes, if you ever have time, they do have those files for downloading.
So there's several ways to break it down on this spreadsheet. So what the claim is, and I think the numbers will back it up, unfortunately, is that black people make up 13% of the population, but commit 52% of violent crime. So, and it'll break it down specifically more. It'll say the black male thing. But my question is this: why do you categorize it in that fashion? Why is that how you categorize it? Look, they've got 24 different tables right there. So on one of the tables, they classify it by men. That men cause X amount, which is like 74%, if I'm not mistaken, or something crazy, of the crimes. No matter what race or ethnicity they are. Why are we not viewing it through that lens? Why do you choose to view it through this other lens? Because it supports your narrative. And I think that's the big part of it.
Well, that and people use that to back up their personal prejudices in the
right, and they leave out the fact that there's other data that will maybe even make their argument irrelevant.
Exactly.
But they want to prove a point, and they hope that you don't go and do some research on it.
Because then you'll just realize, oh, you just provided me information out of context.
Right, and that's what a lot of the information that goes on out in the world and out on the internet is out of context information or half-ass information, shit like that. People just
meme cultured their way into, oh, I know this because I've seen it in a meme. Like,
right.
No.
Right. But I encourage you all to look through the FBI crime stats. If you ever hear that argument, everything is not what it seems with that argument. You can view it through a total different lens if you choose to. It's all about your narrative and what are you trying to project with your numbers. And that's a huge thing when it comes to numbers. People want to project whatever's going to support the direction that they're trying to go. You know what I mean? That bias or unconscious bias even, that you expect a certain outcome, so you're going to look at the data that leads you in that direction. You know what I mean?
It's like an echo chamber. Whatever you're looking up, you're 9 times out of 10 going to keep finding information to reinforce that.
That's why I try to stay out of echo chambers and get myself involved in groupthink type situations. I question a lot of shit. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't sound right to me, I'm gonna ask more questions.
Yeah, like a friend of mine, he's turning black conservative. And I'm like...
Well, what does that mean, though, to turn black conservative?
He's saying he's listening to what these conservatives are saying, and this is what he's now aligning his mentality towards.
Okay. What does that mean? What does that look like? How do you
This is just me going off what he's saying to me.
Okay.
What he's saying is that, hey, I like their message. I like this.
But what part of the message? Because I like some things. It just depends on what it is. I like gun rights. I'll keep coming back to that because I think every person needs to have their gun rights, and I don't think anybody should infringe on that. We have that right. That's what our country is founded on.
We definitely need the ability to defend ourselves.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. And if you get rid of all the guns, I promise you there's going to be a lot of people that are out there whenever Whenever they come knocking around, do you have guns? Nope, I lost them in a boating accident.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to go to the next house, and there's going to be another accident that lost some guns, so they ain't going to have them recovered.
Mm-hmm.
And
I always tell everybody, you got to keep one off the books.
You know what happened? I mean, I'm not going. I mean, do I need to say more? Do I need to describe that in any more detail? Does that make sense? I think that's pretty goddamn clear.
Yeah. Once they start rounding up your guns, be worried.
I mean, and that's the laws that are trying to be pushed right now. But it's asinine to me. That's why I say, what does it mean to have a right wing position? Because to me, that is a position that the right wing would take when it comes to guns. I'm
gonna have to get him on here one day so he can explain this with you.
Yeah, I
don't want to put no words in his mouth.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Well, I mean, we can talk about the general mentality of one versus the other. We don't have to talk about anything specific because we've got enough evidence and examples of it that we can talk about it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because I wouldn't say I lean one way or the other. I'm just kind of in the middle. There's no way specific.
There's no way situation. A normal, regular human being can say that they're one way or the other without giving up on some kind of dialogue and thought process. To me, you have. I mean, that's the only way you can just jump on one side. To me, you're not open minded. You're just closed minded. This is what it is.
Like for instance, how Joe Biden gaslit black people by saying, "If you don't vote for me, you're not black."
Yeah, right.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean that was a dumbass fucking thing to say, though. I mean,
and they still voted for his ass.
You're right.
Stupid.
Hell, I did. I'm not gonna lie, but I was
honestly,
I was never vote. Trump, so that's the only reason I can't fuck with Trump, because you just constantly gaslight, constantly lie, insult my intelligence, make me think that I have no value, and you're supposed to be the leader of the country.
Honestly, I think he really does that just because it drives ratings.
Well,
it makes
of course.
money.
Yeah, I know.
He knows. He's an entertainer.
I know, but that's not what we need leading our country.
I know.
You know, go do your TV shit. You know, I'm not going to knock you if that's what you're doing. You drive your ratings on TV. Go make your millions and billions.
If anything, I feel like he pulled the curtain down on the Wizard of Oz. Like, now people are kind of like, all right, what the fuck is really happening with this country? Like, who's running shit?
And that's my only reason with Biden. I personally, I wanted Tulsi Gabbard out of that whole bunch of Democrats that was up there.
I'm just tired of these old ass dudes. It's like y'all were the racists back in the day, or were raised by them. Majority of them. So.
Well, I mean, and you still have these unconscious biases that you're saying. You know,
60 years ago that is no longer relevant. What are you talking about?
I do regret my vote for Biden in a way, but like I said, I couldn't give it to Trump. He's insulted my intelligence way too many times for me to do that. Biden's starting to get there. I wish we didn't have a two-party system. I wish we can get...
I mean, technically we could get something else in there, but it's because of the overwhelming majority go either one way or the other.
We got to get out of this groupthink as a people, man. So my problem with the left wing is they think it's the victim mentality. It's the entitlement. They feel so entitled to everything, and it should be given.
It's like,
and that bothers me.
People don't want to work for anything.
No, you owe me this. When that's not how life as a historical piece of well, we can refer to history. You know, it's a working piece of art that we can vision. You know, there's documentation of it. There's drawings, pictures. There's data that shows how people were functioning and surviving, and nobody was ever given anything. You had to work as a society in order to grow.
Well, except for Israel. They were given.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
we
that's a whole other topic.
we'll talk about that. This is
It's like, yeah, history, funny, right?
yeah. I mean, depends on where you get it from, and
Exactly.
and how many questions you've asked about it. You know,
Bro,
It's
older
crazy.
I got, I was so mad at my old history teachers. Y'all, y'all didn't give us the context of half the shit we were learning.
well, it wasn't their job to. In reality,
We just had to pass the test.
yep, they
That
had
was
a
it.
they did what they were told to do. They were
Mhm.
given a curriculum to teach. They weren't given input or the ability to give input on what they were teaching. They could apply their style to it once they got the material, but they were given what it was approved by a board or it was approved by another organized body. It's not
But
just
that's the reason why I say why I still put some of that onus on the teachers is because having gone to college, you run into the teachers that really had a passion for the subject. And so they end up talking to you and telling you about side shit in the middle of the lesson, like, oh man, I actually went to this place and I seen this, and I can tell you that X, Y, and Z happened, and this was the context of more what was going on while
Right.
this was happening.
I mean,
Versus the teachers don't actually know the subjects, or maybe they just got thrown in the spot, but really they're the gym teacher or something.
I didn't go to college, but I meet those type of people in real life, too. People that are underestimated, people that actually, if you sit and listen to them, they actually have something that they can teach you.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing that contributes to the victim mentality, because people don't want to listen to nobody because they don't want to take advice from people's experience. You know what I mean? There's a lot of I know every fucking thing type people out there, and it's weird to me. It's just weird. Shit, man. What you think? We've been going.
We have. But no, the thing about the whole victim mentality with black people as a whole, though, I think we're slowly starting to see kind of a separation.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
There's the black people that are doing as far as trying to make things shake and move, like, hey, we're going to network, we're going to actually start rebuilding these communities. And then you have the people that seem like they're just going for the clout or the attention just so they can bring in money, but they're not actually helping anyone.
They're not contributing anything positive to their society, their community,
just
except
furthering
for
the stigma.
pictures. Except for pictures.
Yeah.
They contribute a hell of a bunch of pictures, which is great. We appreciate the artwork.
They're essentially media companies
non-fungible tokens and whatnot.
getting backed by, I view them more so as controlled opposition.
Okay.
Like the white people can pay them and say, hey, keep doing these ads, keep going around.
So do you buy into those people who are plans? I know we're moving off the topic, but I'm good with that. We can move to a different.
I mean, it still fits in here because those people could always have plausible deniability. No, that's not what we're doing. No, we're really trying to help the people. We're really trying to do this. They're gaslighting us.
Right. Yep. I'm glad we're talking about this. It's an educational day.
Because the real people that tried to help, the Malcolms, the Fred Hamptons, those people literally got shot.
Right.
They took them the fuck out of here for actually trying to help people.
Yep, you're right.
So you got these people that have been up and
getting permanently silenced.
Basically.
I mean, for real. I mean, they ain't basically shit.
Yeah, they couldn't get bought, so they got some bullets.
I mean, and that's why I say we don't get rid of our gun laws, people. I'm telling you. Please.
It's for your defense, black people.
Please. Don't sign on to that bullshit.
Because who do you think they trying to disarm?
Don't sign up for that bullshit. Stay legal, stay clean, get you legal weapons. Pay the parts, pay the cost. Get it. Because
no telling.
I'm throwing my hands up.
Ain't no telling.
Tulsa happened 100 years ago.
They just now starting to try to really get the information out.
We got bigger pockets that are trying to turn into black epicenters now. such as Atlanta. What other cities across the country? Houston is definitely
yeah.
one. You know, New Orleans, I would say. You know, there's so many areas that are black epicenters. That I'm just saying.
Have you ever heard of Sarah Rector?
No, go ahead, elaborate.
The reason I bring her up is because just to give people a brief Oklahoma history, she was an 11-year-old girl that had been moved up here during when they were bringing all the people over and allotting them Indian land and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, back in the day, black people weren't able to manage their own money over a certain amount of point. I didn't know this.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
What happened was they found oil on the land that she was allotted, and so essentially, she got some white handlers to handle her money. And of course, they stripped her rights, and all the records for it supposedly disappeared when the family tried to find out, like, hey, where's her oil rights? Where's this money?
What a perfect segue.
I actually met the family in real life because they were down here at a little event on the east side. They're like, we're
really?
still trying to find information. Like, it's like they went up there one day, and the people were like, hey, yeah, we have these files, but it's going to take us a while to get to them. Come back tomorrow. They came back the next day. They couldn't find nothing. I was like, y'all got hit with the okie doke.
Hey. Damn, that was here?
Yeah, that was here.
That's
this
crazy.
is in like the 20s or some shit like that.
Right around.
She was 11 years old.
Okay. Man.
Her family said since she was an 11-year-old with all that money, of course she mismanaged what little they did give her. She didn't know any better.
What's worse is things like that aren't really taught. Like even more towards some of my other ancestors that were forced to walk from Florida to Oklahoma on the Trail of Tears.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you hear a little bit about that, but you never hear the types of stories that went down. You don't hear about the unless you dig into it. You don't hear that the Seminole Nation is the only native tribe that has never surrendered to America. Only undefeated tribe. So you know you got to dig into those things, and you know you're just not taught all that in school. They don't give you that type of in-depth details about shit. There's not enough time, you know.
And that's why even if you are sending your children to school, I really do believe you should be still furthering that education at home.
Right, because they're being handled with doctored information. They're being pushed through and forced through real fast. Hell, y'all went to school. Y'all know how the shit is.
Like,
I mean, especially people that went to public school. Well, I would imagine private schools not much different. You just had to pay for it. You know?
Well, they offer a lot more quality classes.
Yeah, sure. But
well.
what are they teaching in their quality?
Like medical classes and shit. My cousin went to a private school.
Well, I'm talking as far as history goes, and you know that's great that they have those types of things. That's fantastic. But what message are you teaching the youth as far as historical data and information, things that are going to mold the future? Because history impacts the future. There's no doubt about it. So you may be unconsciously biased about it, but it's because you've been taught something, so you expect things to go a certain way. You know, and so what is that message that are being taught in those private schools type shit?
See, that I don't know. I just know from seeing him and the experiences that I've had with him at his school, he was like that, like one or two black people at the school full of a sea of white Mexican kids. So I was like, this is a crazy environment off top.
Yeah, that's definitely a crazy environment off top.
Catholic school at that. I was like, this is crazy. I would have not chose this. Like, not on purpose at least. And they get to paddle people. Like, let somebody, like a white teacher try to come up and try to paddle me, bro. We got an issue.
Damn.
I seen that.
Disregard. That didn't work out as planned. Have technical difficulties on the darker side of things. We're back. May not be in the same condition as we was before the mic pause and cough. However, anyway.
Shit happens.
Anyway, but that was you was leading me right into a perfect segue when you was talking about money manipulation and disappearing records and contracts and all of that type thing. What you think about this whole Rory and Maul and Joe Budden thing? For people who don't know, I mean, we talked about it last episode too, but we didn't really get into it. We gave some surface level shit on it. I have since gotten somewhat caught up.
Okay.
So this is, tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
So my understanding is that the Spotify deal Joe Budden did as a Joe Budden production, and Rory and Maul were brought on as profit partners, allegedly. Profit partners, not employees. So that's where the discrepancy comes in, is one side says, nah, y'all were employees. Other side says, nah, we were profit partners.
Well, okay, so hold on. It's kind of a little bit more nuanced.
Okay.
Because what happened was apparently they signed a contract way before the Spotify deal. Like, they had a contract with Joe that they were profit partners for that show specifically. But from how Joe's explaining it, it sounds like he went out and made deals for the network, not for the podcast.
For the Joe Budden Podcast Network. The one that's got all his other
businesses with it. Yeah, that's what it sounded
under his
like.
umbrella.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm thinking that's where it's kind of like...
So that's where the muddy of the waters comes in.
Yeah.
So, but you are intentionally going to move this podcast that is the jumpstart of the Joe Budden podcast. Oh, I keep want to say Joe Biden for some reason.
Too close.
Yeah, right. You're taking the Joe Budden podcast network that was formed off of, or at least it appears that it was formed in conjunction with the Joe Budden podcast. And the Joe Budden podcast, whether you say it or not, became more popular when Rory and Maul came to the show.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, whether you agree with it, whether you say they was just other dudes.
Over 300 episodes, yeah.
That's debatable. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't like their style or whatever. You don't like the things that they had to input, but the numbers are not going to lie. The live shows that they did, all of that. So you're moving something that was built as a team to a major deal, but you're not including the people that have brought you here or helped you get here. They didn't make the show. Y'all made the show. The chemistry between the group made the show. And I think when you break that chemistry, you lose the show. I don't know that they'll be able to gain that chemistry back with Ish and Ice. I don't think they'll be able to.
I think the energy with Ish and Ice is different only because all three of them are older, so they kind of they still have the same bag of stories they can pull from.
But it's not going to be the same energy. Yeah. It's going to be a different show. I guarantee.
Oh yeah, it's already a different show.
I haven't listened to any of it since
I was listening to them while they were going. I was like, yeah, this sounds like some grown nigga conversations. Like it ain't, Maul kind of the cool one. Rory's the youngest out of them, trying to prove a point and shit. Right. The niggas all, similar ages, so it's closer. The respect there's a little bit more.
Right. So yeah. What do you think is going to happen now? So,
well, to give the people the stats, I mean, his last episode was the #1 on iTunes. So,
was it? Okay,
yeah. So it's like it ain't lost no steam. People still tuning in. It could be still because they're rolling off this drama with Olivia Dope and everything else.
Yeah. So. Tell people about that. Tell me about that, because I've heard a little bit about it. It was some kind of harassment shit.
So on episode 16 of So the Thing Is, that's the show she was doing with Bridget Kelly and Mandy B.
Okay.
Joe popped up as a guest on that episode.
He just popped up?
Well, it was planned, I think, for him to show up, but they had already started recording when he showed up.
Is this pre or post Rory Mall situation?
This is like literally in January.
Oh, okay, January.
Yeah,
okay,
this is January of this year.
Okay.
So he gets on there, and before I give my opinion, I'm just gonna state what happened. He's Joe. Like when the camera's on, he does his theatrics. He's loud.
Yeah, he's Joe.
Hey, what's up? He's making these comments because he's cool with Mandy. He's cool with Bridget. They're actual genuinely friends, but he doesn't know Olivia, and he states on the show, like, me and you don't really talk, but he's making these comments like, hey, I really want to fuck you, like, type comments and shit. But he doesn't know her like that to be making or joking around like that to make those comments.
Okay.
So there's a couple of instances through the show where he makes those type of comments. At one point, he calls her a bitch. Like, he's like, hey,
in the show?
Bitch, hit the button. Yeah. Like,
okay.
And then there's like 3 or 4 scenes that she brought up where it was actually completely cut out of the show. There's just a jump cut because you didn't hear what was said. But she's like, yeah, it sounded rough. And you look on her face, she kind of looked uncomfortable. Like, what the fuck? And so at the end of the episode, last 5 minutes, he gets up to try to give her a hug. And she's kind of linked over, hugging him. This nigga is like doing some weird dance, thrusting motion. But she doesn't notice it. But you see it on the camera at the end of the episode. She just looked back at it with her daughter. Was like, "Yo, I can't do this. Like, I do not feel comfortable."
So it was visually uncomfortable for her.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't know that, and so it's not like that even needed to be something that. It's not like it was something that was leaked. This is on an episode of a podcast.
And the thing is, girls, to give more information about the situation, their latest episode, they talked about it with a therapist on there. They were like, we did ask her if she was okay. Parks, the producer,
right.
He actually had her sit and listen back to it.
Who is also the producer of the Joe Budden podcast.
Mm-hmm. And they said that she said she was okay. In her video, she stated that everyone else was fine with it, so who was I to state my opinion? She didn't feel comfortable enough to even, want to step in. But Mandy had to step in and cut some things out because she's like, nah, this is wild.
This
like,
ain't
this
even,
don't even
okay.
Look. Yeah.
Okay.
So the fact that her co-host had to hop in and was like, this doesn't look good. Like, we need to clean this up a little bit. And for her to come in this is about 3-4 months later after the fact, right on top of what's happening with Rory and Mal.
So the real cut never went out live. It was edited.
Yeah.
It was cut out. Okay.
So a lot of it was edited out, but you could still see it. Like, his comments were still there.
But if you didn't have the backstory or the context, you may not have understood what was going on.
What also didn't help is on the Joe Budden podcast, after the situation where she's left, there's clips of him and Rory making HR jokes and shit on the show. Yeah, you can actually go look those clips up.
So those are more context to the situation, in other words.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it was coded language to something that only a certain person would understand.
So if you weren't in those rooms, you didn't know that they were referencing what's going on with that. Yep.
Man, all this shit ties together, man. I'm telling you.
Exactly. And so to bring it back to their situation with Rory and Mal, or with Joe, it sounds like Rory and Mal, in my opinion, weren't involved enough in the business to know how the money was actually being handled. Because when Mal said he didn't understand how the money was, while he was getting paid the same from the different venues, Joe, his response being, you don't understand the same? Like, not all of these cities are the same. We're not selling the same amount of seats. We're having to do discounts here. We're having to,
That's
So
business.
It's like, y'all not asking questions. Like, so of course you're not going to know how things
There
are
has to
handled.
be some personal accountability here also.
Mm-hmm.
That's another big thing that is taboo in black culture for sure. Is personal accountability.
Because it's almost like they literally are trying to give their plausible deniability. Like, oh no, use my mans. Like, you supposed to look out for me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that ain't how business work.
That's the victim mentality part of it kicking in, is what that is. That I'm not even gonna give them the plausible. No, that's that victim shit.
Well, give him the victim.
Because
It's entitlement.
you didn't have you feel entitled to because you didn't do your due diligence. You didn't hold yourself personally accountable to know what your numbers are. So you got to take ownership in that too, and that's a big thing that people don't do is take ownership of the shit that they should take ownership of. You know, instead they want to blame and play the victim. You know, with that victim mentality. And the fucked up part about it is it spreads. Your children see that, and they begin to develop that type of mentality because it's what they see. You know, that's how it gets perpetuated over the generations because our children, our youth are at risk, quote unquote, at risk youth. You know, they're also sponges, and they soak up everything. You know, and when they become adults, you can really start to see how that shit comes out of them.
A perfect example. I know this girl. Her mom, when we were kids, used to just show the fuck out whenever something was happening. I mean, just wallow. You know that angry black lady trope. And sure enough, as she got older, she started doing the same shit.
But it gives people the ammo to throw that trope at you whenever you give that kind of cadence to it. You know what I mean? You gotta change your cadence. You can't march that way.
Exactly. Well, and then I view it most so tying back into the victim mentality. It's like they try to emotionally attack you from a victim mentality, and it's like, honestly, if you were being logical about this, the situation isn't that big of a deal, and you could chill.
Yeah, I mean, number one, fuck whatever somebody else's opinions are of you. You know, hold yourself accountable. Do the things that you know are right. You know, people can say what they want to say. They're going to. Trust me. People are going to judge you. They're gonna base their opinions on part information, false information, shit that they just made up. You know what I mean? So fuck what everybody else thinks about you. You know, I've had to grow into that type of mentality. I just don't care what you go, and I don't care what you got to say, and I'm going to say what I feel. Especially if you interject yourself into a conversation that I'm having, I'm damn sure going to tell you how I feel. So don't do that and think that you're going to slide away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I realize with social media and stuff, some people don't ever get to that point, or if they do, it's really late in life. They have to go through a trial of depression.
You got to learn.
Self-confidence.
You got to learn.
Self-esteem issues.
And one thing that factors in is freedom of speech don't necessarily mean freedom of consequences. I think we said that last week. Just because you say some shit don't mean you're not free to get your ass whipped for saying it. I see it so many times over and over on the internet. Motherfuckers think they can just say one thing and just bow.
What's that old saying? Your mouth cash and checks, your ass can't.
Right. End up in a Twisted Tea meme.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
For real. No, but I really do think, like, the more... It's like I don't want to be against Murray and Mal, because I like them as personalities, but listening to the Joe, it really sounded like they did not know what was in their contract.
Yeah, they've got to accept that. But now, how do they move forward? You know, because
it sounds like that's a done data.
Well, that deal is over.
Yeah.
So is Joe going to hold them to that 1 year?
Nah, he said he wasn't.
I know he said it.
We'll see.
We'll see, because I don't know that they can put a podcast out that would compete with his podcast. They'd have to.
I think it may be the first couple, but it depends on how they come out the gate.
They would, yeah, and it depends on what angle they go, and.
So if they come out trying to play the victim mentality,
do they even go that route though? Is that even something that they? Even
I get the vibe
though?
that they probably wouldn't. They try to start it fresh, but
I'm talking about with a podcast. Even I mean, is that?
I think the
Rory
Mal that
Mal
tweeted something out that they were.
I saw the new Rory and Mal little meme with a little sketch outline of their faces and whatnot. I saw that, and. That don't mean shit. Internet creates all kinds of shit.
Well, like I said, Mal did tweet something out indicating that...
He said we cooking.
Yeah, they cooking.
He said we cooking.
So...
But what does cooking mean, though? What are you cooking? What are you baking up there,
got
sir?
something coming.
What are you cooking, sir? How does it smell?
Could be a podcast. Could be a YouTube channel. Hell, maybe
do it smell like chitlins? Or do it?
Maybe he's doing an NBA podcast for once, because he be giving his NBA takes on Twitter and shit.
I don't have enough NBA takes unless we just talk about historical shit, like current content. I
stopped watching the NBA, to be honest with you.
I was at a cigar bar last night, and the game, the Golden State and Memphis game was on behind me, and I saw that they was losing, but they was coming back, and then I was, chilling and not paying attention to it. That's how my season has gone.
Honestly, I don't know who plays for who anymore.
Because
I started watching football whenever all the black people started boycotting, and then I just forgot about it. Like, I got busy with real life.
Boycotting football? That's funny. White people and black people boycotting football over Colin Kaepernick for different reasons. Ain't that some crazy shit?
But you still boycotting?
Both sides, though. And the NFL still making their money. That's what I don't know. How does this work? Like...
Because they already signed contracts,
Well, no, I'm talking about how does the NFL make money?
Ad revenue.
Right, because the show must go on no matter what. You know what I mean? Y'all think these boycotts is going to help on somebody that's making money like that? You're not going to be able to cancel that cancel shit. I don't believe in it, y'all. Y'all keep it up, but. We're going to get to the point where everybody's canceled for something, you know what I mean? And then what?
But they still keep coming back.
But do we have to wait until everybody's canceled to make that, next appearance for, forgiveness,
I think at this stage, the cancel culture thing is kind of already... I mean, they keep trying it with different people, but it's not as effective as it was when it first was a thing. Because now people have been canceled 3, 4, 5 times, and these niggas still.
All you got to do is be a real person and say you fucked up, and people generally will be like, all right, because they know they fuck up. We fuck up. Some people don't look at it like there's always those people that they don't fuck up, or they do fuck up, but that's irrelevant. It's all about your fuck up. You know what I mean? And they like to point that shit out. And when shit come around, your ass gonna be the one to get canceled.
Niggas get on my nerves too. My shit don't stink.
I mean, a lot of that is, man, the GOP position on January 6th. There's a lot of that going on, a lot of that gaslighting, a lot of that victim mentality, a lot of...
That's not what was happening.
Right. Plausible deniability. Coded language, it was all baked into that too. The position now is that didn't even happen like that. It was a peaceful protest. People were up there just showing their concern for the way that things were going in the country, and they were basically on a tour of the motherfucking White House, or not the White House, but the Capitol building, where Congress is.
So here's a question. Whose job is it to hold these people accountable to this? Because it doesn't seem like anybody's willing to hold anyone to this.
Who are we holding accountable, though? What do you mean?
As far as the protesters that they're claiming weren't protesters that stormed the Capitol, like, who's supposed to be handling this?
Well, the FBI is apparently handling it, taking all these tourists to jail, for tourist violations, the ones that were just... visiting the White House area and the Capitol building area, they were just visiting.
Oh yeah, y'all weren't in there defacing property and taking pictures like dummies,
Yeah, there was nobody was at. It was all peaceful there. That's the shots shouldn't even have happened because you don't shoot peaceful protesters, do you? I mean, oh wait, that's a whole different subject. The police shoot peaceful protesters. We don't want we don't want to talk about that one right now. Let's set that one aside. This peaceful protester was just trying to get into the Capitol building. All these senators or House of Representatives, Republicans, they weren't concerned for their lives. They didn't go hide and go through the escape routes. They didn't get behind the security with the guns. They didn't barricade themselves and hide between the pews and the seats. didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, and then you see where they were trying to say, what about those other protests in Minneapolis and
right.
those other
So
places?
that's that deflection though. That's that deflection. They deflect there. That's where they go. They want to start talking about Black Lives Matter, and they want to start talking about the George Floyd situation. They
Trying
want
to
to start
move the goalposts.
right. It's just it ain't even moving the goalposts. It's a deflection to where I don't even want to talk about this. Let's point over here. They'll start pointing at Chicago, and they'll start, you know what I mean? They'll bring up all this other random shit, but let's talk about this situation first. If you want to talk about that, sure, let's talk about it. I'm down to have the conversation there too, because I don't think you'll like what is going to be said around that piece of it either. Mm-hmm. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about this right now.
At the end of the day, they did storm supposedly one of our most important buildings. And
I mean, what would have happened if that was a group of Muslims that were protesting just
lady got shot just trying to get through the building.
What would have happened to those Muslim tourists in the White House, or I keep saying the White House, but it was the Capitol building. Mm-hmm. What would have happened to those Muslim tourists in the Capitol building that were just touring our highest offices in the land, you know?
Like I said, we already know they had got popped.
I mean, they were tourists though. They were peacefully protesting. They were voicing their opinion on how they've been treated in society. You know, how they've been quieted and silenced and oppressed. You know, that's all they were doing.
You know, I do wonder, because in that situation, I think Donald Trump still was president. I said pregnant.
He might have been pregnant too.
Pregnant with some bullshit.
Right.
But no, he was. I think he was president still at the time. So
he was president at the time.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if he would have just had counter protesters up there.
Oh yeah, counter protesting these Muslim tourists.
And they would have been the ones dishing out the bullshit.
Maybe it would have been the same group of tourists and peaceful protesters that showed up at the Capitol building that on January 6th. Mm-hmm. You know, it might have been a lot of that peaceful protesting happening. You know, those police officers, I love how they showed and demonstrated their love for blue lives and how blue lives matter in America. I want to salute them for that. Wave that flag with that blue bar high, because you showed how much your dedication to blue lives is on that day.
My question is, have that black man not distracted them to go a different way, and they did kill those politicians? How could they have tried to spin that?
Hey, they were being peaceful. They were they were offering Mike Pence a necktie. You know,
the Haitian
peaceful.
Type.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a necktie. I mean, it was peaceful. They were polite about it.
Well, that's what they claim. You know, I don't believe it, man.
I mean, how else can we look at the video and all the evidence and all the things that have been presented, they don't mean or show you what happened. That's not
I'm
proof.
still just seeing pictures with somebody else's spin on the story.
Right. It's not proof. So I don't know how to deal with, because you know, how do you process that? Because psychologically, I'm fucked up on this, because I know goddamn well what I saw. I watched that day. I watched January 6th. I sat there and watched every bit of it, because it was interesting. It was interesting as shit to me, because I already knew what was happening. I saw all the tweets, all the be there. It's going to be wild.
Yep.
You know.
Former undercover officers pulling up from different cities and stuff.
All of the reports coming out of Parlor about shit about to go down. You know.
It was definitely a planned event. They knew what they were there
for.
So
the problem is, who has the plausible deniability on this of, you know, saying, hey, which Trump does. If you go through and look at his words that he said, okay, he didn't directly say go do this. He said we need to go fight and take our country back, or we won't have a country no more.
Coded language.
I mean, and then of course you're going to point out, all right, all these times the Democrats said we got to fight, but you're neglecting the fact of it was said in both situations, and weigh the actions that happened in both situations. You know what I mean? Never one time have you seen a democratic body of people rush the state capitol where the highest ranking people other than the president do they business and conduct business for our country, for us. Never have you seen a democratic group of people desecrate and disrespect that entity.
Well,
Never. We've only seen it one time, and then the British. You know what I mean? We saw January 6th, the British.
I was gonna say, technically, this is where the code of language comes in. Because when I hear them say we need to fight for our country, I never view it as them talking to all of us. I think they're talking to their inner circle of people,
Well,
saying we need
but
to
the
keep
problem
our
is-
power
problem
over
is we
this
can't-
country.
Problem is we can't prove that. That's where the plausible deniability part comes in.
I would say they prove it in their policies and how they go about enacting certain things.
Right. Yeah, and then you're looking at another breakdown, because then they'll say, how do these laws that are enacted, where in this law does it say it's against black people? Well, it doesn't, but what demographics are impacted by the results of this law?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not having those discussions either. It's just the language doesn't say anything about black, white, or anything else. So tell me what laws are on the books that are against black people, because that's an argument you'll get.
And it's up to the person to enforce them. So the people enforcing the laws at the same time
Right,
have to
and
be holding people accountable.
Well, and then you have to rely on a person's interpretation of a law too, or hell,
We all know that cop that will pull you over, but man, just give me your weed. I ain't gonna take you to jail.
yeah,
Yeah, we
Man.
know. It's all in who they decide to bless that day. Most of them don't look like me, but
But how many times have you had that situation happen? Though?
me personally, never.
Never?
My white friends, they're like, yeah, it's happened like 3-4 times. I'm like,
I've-
so this is why y'all smoke so recklessly around places? Because I'm like, I never.
I've had a cop do it in the open.
Mm.
It still took me to jail though.
Yeah, nah. My homie was like, man, they just threw my shit to the wind and let me go. It was like, get out of here.
Yeah,
I'm like, nah, bro. They took my ass under the jail.
broke my
Just for that
cigar
little
all
shit.
apart.
Mm-hmm. But no, I view America as still that last dinosaur from the imperialist age, still going around wrecking havoc everywhere, just to keep this country afloat. And
That's why last episode I said we need to leave all that shit alone. Fuck what all them other people are doing in their countries. Let's worry about our shit, because we got so much shit that we got to deal with here that we don't have any business looking. We need to clean our own house first.
I think honestly, the people that have these racial issues or what they view as racial issues, they've already proven that they're willing to fight with guns
Right.
for this
Again,
shit and what they believe in.
Don't vote for these laws to disarm yourself. Please don't do it.
Because that's just stupid.
I don't know. I don't know how else to say it or how many times to say it, but it's you all are doing this. Please think about it. I understand you want to be on the team and everything, but don't do that. Don't do that to yourself.
Again, you're only stopping somebody that is going to follow the law with the guns. The people that want guns illegally are going to have them.
Yep. There's too many guns. There's more guns than people.
Yeah, you're going to find somebody with a
There's
gun.
no way. You can round up all the guns in the country easier than you can round up all the people probably, and there's no way you're going to round up all the people. You know what I mean? And you could probably round up the guns easier than you can round up people. And you'll never find the people. So how are you ever going to find the guns?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it's stupid. What we need to do is start talking about behaviors and mentalities and thought processes and things like that. Start looking at people, how they're mentally how they're mentally developed and how they demonstrate themselves amongst society. You know,
I would say that requires a certain level of maturity and intellectual thought that I don't think most people have gotten to yet. And the reason I say that is
you're
because
right. I know.
when I look at politics, I personally feel like I'm being gaslit into one reaction or another.
Well,
And
that
so it
you
turns
are
me
though.
off from the subject. Like, I don't even have the time care to stress myself into one opinion or another.
Right. And then if you decide to go out there and run and do it for yourself, then you're torn to shreds.
They dig up every single
Yeah.
thing they can find on you and rip you apart with it.
So you can't get out there and do something about it if you have any kind of history. So
Something that you're too embarrassed about, then yeah.
it eliminates a lot of good people. You know what I mean? Because those situations and moments, you know, they could be decades behind them. You know what I mean? And still be there. You know, still hum. You know,
Shit, Bill Cosby.
right?
Perfect example. Perfect example. Those are
Yep.
your skeletons coming out the closet.
Yep, them shits will come back.
Mm-hmm.
But also believe that if a person pays for the thing that they did that long ago, they deserve a right to redemption. You know, as long as they make efforts to not be that person no more, they should be offered redemption. And if you're not going to let a person be redeemed, then what is the point of
Jail.
anything
it's
or any
like,
of it?
why even put him?
Yeah, what's the
there
point
anyway?
of any of it? Because if there's no redeeming, you might as well just kill them whenever they get to that point, and then we're having other conversations. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. People they don't look at everything. Well, hell, and I don't look at everything. I'm not trying to claim that I do, but I want to say I like to try to give all the things options. You know, maybe pay attention to a couple other angles or aspects of something. You know, which is very, very lacking in society now.
Yeah, I like to hear both sides of the arguments. Of course, the right wingers say things that you're just like, I don't agree. So do the left side. So
it's the bullheadedness for me that I just can't deal with on both sides.
It's like they both try to manipulate you just to their side. And it's like, bro, just give me the information. What is the facts? And I'll decide, you know.
And I know it's the vocal minority that we're hearing, because I know everybody that falls in those camps don't think this way. And so that's going to be a big and hard thing to break, you know, because everybody's going to pay attention to that loud minority. You know, the squeaky wheel get the oil. You know. So
I look at it as like a series of pluralities. Like, I go through school, I'm trained to root for this team and stick with this team. I go through college, I do the same thing now with politics. I'm either rooting red or blue, and I'm fighting for them. Even if I know some stuff's wrong, hey, now this is the team, we're riding with them.
Yep.
And people don't see that tribalistic way of thinking of things.
I mean, we're tribal. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how we've always evolved and developed as people. From the ancient days, we were tribal people. We're tribal people now in the modern days. We're not getting away from it because
we got fancier tools. But
yeah, we just have more information now. Now the tribes can be more thoroughly defined. You can set up a magnitude of different groups that you can fall into. You know what I mean? That's the weird
trying to
part.
Stick you with a label, trying to throw a jacket on you for
Right,
one thing or
right.
another.
And I mean, you can label yourself whatever you want to. Is the problem. But how do you look at things? That's a key thing for me. How do you look at this? How did you come to your conclusion? That's big for me.
For sure. And so to tie it back into this, with this whole GOP thing, I guess I'm kind of at a point with it where I'm like, what is the point of this? Like, are you trying to pardon these people? Is that what this is, or
No.
what is the bigger implication that they're trying to chase?
I think what this is to develop that tribal mentality, that team mentality, that going into the 2024 elections, I'm trying to solidify my team. So we just going to be anti this and anti that. We're going to stand for this and not for this. And
so when we run, we already got our talking points set.
Yep. So come 2023, we it's on. We talking that shit. So be ready, and we know it's coming. People, we know it's coming. So cut through all the bullshit and decide how you want to look at things and what you want to look at. Take information from both sides and analyze it. Ask questions about it. Don't just jump on a team, man. I wish more people would think like that. I don't know that they will. Maybe we can get one person to think different just by having this conversation.
Well, I see it on a micro scale, but I feel like once you hit a certain point,
it just plateaus.
People just start selling out.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta get this money and click up with these people to stay ahead in this field.
Yep. And then they jump into the group think because it's survival. Because that's how we survive as people, is in a tribe,
That's how I look at the Republicans. Like, damn, if I don't agree with what this man's saying, like, I might get ostracized.
I mean, we're pack animals, apparently. The
more and more I see it, we're sheep out here, bro.
Yeah,
that's how they treat us.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep. That's another kind of mentality. Trump was talking about herd mentality.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how that shit works. I don't think it has anything to do with the mentality, Mr. Trump. But I got you.
The way he steered his people, he proved. As long as you could talk a good game, you can beat Jim Jones out
here. He wasn't
bro.
meaning herd mentality when he said that, but it's so fucking fitting. He's aiming for herd immunity with the COVID vaccine and COVID, all of that. But he had a Freudian slip.
It's that herd mentality. Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, talking to his people, y'all sheep.
I don't even know how I feel about the whole vaccine thing at all. Like,
I don't know, man. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, I'm not taking it though.
Today. I haven't. It's not that I don't want to.
I'm not.
I don't plan to.
I'm trans-vax. You know what that
is? Yeah. Trans-vax.
I identify as a vaccinated person. Please respect my pronouns.
Right. I'm with it.
Hey, that has been brought to you by Woodstock.
Hey. Woodstock hot take.
Nah, but everything on the internet, whenever it goes to politics, just feels like it's being gaslit.
It is. And it's up to you to sift and sort through the bullshit, or you're gonna get into that thing, man.
Do I care about this Israeli-Palestinian thing? These UFOs?
All right, we brought that up twice. Now let's talk about it. I got it. We got to talk about it now.
Oh, which one?
The Israeli-Palestinian.
They're in a
ceasefire right now, right in their little war right now.
Did they agree to it? I thought he said he wasn't going to do it.
It didn't. I don't know. That's what.
The head of Israel, the dude's like, man, we ain't doing no ceasefire.
All right, so I'm gonna have to look more into that then. That shit.
They offered. They was like, as long as you stop bombing our people, we'll agree to it.
There's so much context and detail and shit behind that scenario and situation. Is crazy, and it deserves to be addressed properly. I'll say that. We can
save it for next week because that's definitely something we don't want to rob the people of.
Yeah, it needs to be addressed properly.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that spans 50, 60, 70 years almost at this point.
More than that, man.
I mean, starting like World War I or before?
It still spans back to biblical days. They believe in those ancient scripts and stories and hand-me-downs from those times.
What's crazy is I'm like, reading the Bible is like, do y'all really think when you die, God's going to be okay with what y'all did? Like, where do you get that justified?
Do we want to get into that conversation? I was purposely avoiding the religion topic. But we can do it. I'm down.
I don't care.
We'll save that for another one too.
We'll table it.
Yep.
Look, this is why y'all gotta keep checking back. You never know what you're gonna hear about.
Yeah, we'll table it. Yeah, I don't want to dive into that yet.
Hell yeah.
That's a whole episode, probably.
For real.
Yeah.
But now this GOP thing is crazy though.
Man, and I don't. Have you been seeing the recent stories of where these Republican senators and representatives are up there basically saying that didn't happen? I mean, that's wild
I think
to
I've
me.
seen, what was it, Marjorie Green Taylor and that
Yeah,
one.
she's been crazy about it. Mark Wayne Mullen
Yep.
was hiding under the pews. He's from Oklahoma, ducking between the pews, talking about there was no threat on his life or no shit. All right, well then why are you hiding like a little girl then? I'm sorry, no disrespect to little girls, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy because those are our people that are leading our country, that are making the decisions for us.
And I can't even be honest about anything.
And that's my problem. Why not? You think everybody's dumb? Really? Everybody? You think everybody's dumb?
They genuinely think so low of us. And it tells me, the lies you try to pull over me tells me where you think I'm at. You know what I mean?
Right. Insulting my intelligence. Trump had that shit bad, too.
I was like, no. And I hate the little finger thing he would do. No.
Yeah, that dude had it bad.
I'm glad they got him out of here. Unfortunately, we have to pay for him since he is a former president.
I saw he went and got his money real quick, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
See that? He cashed that real quick, that pension or whatever, 65 grand or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Something. He went and grabbed that, and, I'm sure he donated it to a good cause. He got enough money.
It sounds like he might have some troubles coming up his damn self if they go after his finance.
They've already gone into it a little bit, I thought. So
I heard the DA was starting an investigation because I guess his finance person's former daughter-in-law.
How many people in that administration do you think are going to end up in prison? Prominent people.
Majority.
Prominent people.
I say a vast majority because it was clear that there was takebacks and things going on under the table. Like,
You think any of his children going to get implicated in anything?
yeah.
I think perhaps. Which is,
the apples don't fall far from the tree.
We'll see, man. But and then they'll point immediately to Hunter Biden.
Well, the reason I say that is because
Which
it's Trump. With Trump's hotel businesses, I've always heard that there was some shady shit going on with that dude. So there's only no telling what his kids got into helping their dad out. And then, now we're the president and the president's family. And we have these political ties. I'm sure they were using it.
And we're still running the business.
Yeah. I'm sure they were misappropriating funds.
That shit was wild to me from the beginning. Whenever
he kept going to Mar-a-Lago?
No, he was like, no, I'm not divesting my business. I'm just going to give it to my kids. I just won't have any influence in my business. It's going to be my kids making decisions. Fuck out of here, man.
No.
That shit still say Trump on it.
He was golfing at his resort every week.
That shit still say Trump on it. And not that it wouldn't, but you have a major sharehold. And so business deals with Saudi Arabia or China and shit that impact your businesses make a difference if how you're going to sway on a policy or a tax or some shit like that. So
now on the flip side, wasn't it Hunter Biden that was on the drugs and stuff?
Yeah, he was on drugs.
Yeah, they do have a valid case with him if they wanted to attack him.
He did that Ukraine shit.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, there was the Hunter Biden laptop came out and he did some drugs and allegedly some other shit. I don't know if that was from the laptop or some other video they just found though. But,
well, I know he had to go to rehab and some other things.
But he also was working with that Ukrainian company, got that money. He was a member of that board, allegedly only because he was Joe Biden's son.
Mm-hmm.
And
was it a Ukrainian power board?
It was an oil company or some shit like that, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think it was an oil company. It was something he sat on a board that he didn't have any business or any knowledge about the business. He was just simply there because he brokered a deal using his dad's name.
Basically.
This is the reports that came out that Rudy Giuliani, Devin, what's his name? No, was it? I can't remember. Is it? I know Giuliani went over there. What's this other fucking dude's name? It'll come to me here in a minute. Because his ass involved with them other dudes from Ukraine, the Parnav dude or whatever. You know about that? People that don't know, the little mafia dudes that Giuliani had hired from the Ukraine to investigate into the Hunter Biden deal.
Oh, wow.
You know, these two little stooges, they look just like I call them mafia dudes. They look like they would be. You know, the stereotypical, if you was about to do a movie of a couple of...
These are the people you would hire?
Yeah, you would get these dudes.
Maybe that's who they really got?
I mean, I don't know.
You never know.
They end up with this laptop out of all of this somehow during that, and also uncovered some other shit that Giuliani was over there acting on behalf of the president or whatever he was doing. But Giuliani under fire too, though. All his shit's under fire, under investigation and shit. Yeah.
Why?
They investigating his dealings over regarding that and other situations, I guess. The feds have started looking into Rudy Giuliani. That's why I say, how many of his people do you think is going to go down? I think it might be a significant amount.
I wonder if this will go down as like one of America's biggest scandals. Like once the whole thing blows open.
It just depends on what kind of evidence they can come up with, I suppose. If there's enough plausible deniability where they can't. You know.
That's all it is. That's the name of the game in court. Plausible deniability. I didn't
seems
know.
like the name of this motherfucking podcast. If I had, this episode is episode 2, plausible deniability. If I had to guess,
for sure. Because everybody seems to always, no, it wasn't me.
Right.
Right. That didn't happen.
Yep. Start gaslighting and shit.
Man, it's all that weed y'all made legal. Y'all don't know what happened.
It needs to be legal. Let's talk about this. So I think we said last episode that I feel like all drugs should be decriminalized, and I feel like. Tell me your stance on this, real quick. Let's talk. I want to talk about that.
My stance on drugs is, I think that we shouldn't be policing people for drugs, because as an adult, you should be able to make your own decisions. If you want to start doing heroin, that was your decision.
So
now, if you're forced or someone did something to you under a certain age, that's different.
Can I put my weave out? Can I weave something in here for us?
Sure.
Victim. We happen to give the definition of a victim today. A person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action. So who's harmed? Because you can't self-crime. There's no such thing as self-crime.
Exactly. So for someone taking drugs, they treat them as like a self-crime. Like, oh,
there's no such thing as a self-crime to me. I don't think suicide is a self-crime. It's a decision
right?
It's a decision that person made. You know, no matter what, how you feel about it.
That was how they felt about it.
That's that person made that decision, which nobody else has the right to do. In my opinion.
Murder.
Huh?
So then it becomes murder.
Right. And then we start talking about shit like we did at the end of the last episode. I ain't even gonna bring up. Start talking about some OJ shit. But anyway, check out the first episode if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Reference.
Right. So.
But I feel like.
So.
Well, as far as weed and shrooms and shit go, hell yeah, legalize that shit.
What about heroin though? You think heroin should be legal? Meth?
It's already legal in different forms.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting
I'm
to
like
you. So
Oxycontin and all that stuff.
yeah,
they're
you're
just
stealing my thunder. Yeah,
same
because
drugs, different.
so, but everybody doesn't look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's where the problem comes in at.
Yeah.
All drugs don't carry the same weight in people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which is crazy because literally, I think it is oxys that are like essentially
like
heroin or
heroin.
steroid.
Right,
Yeah.
right. The fentanyl and
Fentanyl,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, that shit is crazy.
And morphine, different heroin derivatives and shit. Shit is pretty damn close.
I seen a study that they were saying that most people that started in elementary had tried one or two just from their parents' medicine cabinets, and then by the time they were in high school, were able to get their hands on them on a regular basis.
I don't like pills, man. That shit's crazy. Don't do them, please, because you never
I've
know
only
what's in
took
them.
one time.
Dude, you never know what's in them shits, man. That's like
Exactly.
I can't. You might get a bad batch. I don't want a bad batch.
Granted, I didn't have oxys or nothing. I
Or
X.
don't buy them off the black market. If you get them from a doctor, and you actually need them, take pills if you need them. And they're prescribed by a doctor.
Honestly, I don't even trust the doctors, bro. Watching documentaries, they're the ones that help spread this shit around.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, getting people hooked on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just to get their bonuses and quotas for selling a product.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I heard they got like uncapped bonuses. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, the more and more
They can't directly relate it, but if you bring our product into your line and maybe introduce it to some of your patients along the way, we'll start
Give you a
paying
little
you this
kickback.
money. Yeah. And so that ties into a whole different thing whenever it comes to our healthcare system and how it really works and versus what everybody's idea of it is versus people's plans of it for such as universal health care or
Because it's almost like they create problems so that they can then come on the back end and create another solution that then
Right.
causes another problem.
Right.
They got to make another solution.
so I mean there's so many different ways to look at this whole thing that I don't think is talked about enough. Everybody just falls in line and they feel a certain way. That's with most topics anyway.
And like, not even, I don't want to say no names, but I have a friend who it sounds like this is essentially what happened with her son. Is like he had one condition, they started treating it, caused another, started treating it, and now it's just a never-ending cascade.
Yo, we don't say no names on this
Things.
motherfucker, but we'll sub you all day long.
Oh yeah, like if you know, hey, baby girl, I'm saying a prayer for you because that shit is sad.
Right.
But yeah, that shit is crazy.
Man, I think we've almost made it 2 hours, my friend.
I know, yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's save some more for episode 3.
We will.
So, what else? What's on your mind, real quick? Let's throw things around real quick. We'll get ready to wrap the show up. We got a few more minutes.
Okay. Well, I think as we identify these terms, victim mentality, gaslighting, plausible deniability, and coded language, it will help us to see these things in our day-to-day lives, even in our basic interactions from a micro to macro level. We'll be able to be like, oh, okay, I can recognize this happening in real time and be like, nah.
So the reason I wanted to visit this is because, as I've said many times now, is I like to set definitions on things. So we make sure we're talking about the same thing. If your definition is different, let's talk about what your definition is and how you got to that before we can go any further and really discuss the problem. Because if we're not set on definitions, how can we ever get to a conclusion?
Exactly.
And-
Because some people play with words just to have you talking in circles.
Right. And if you don't watch out for that, you'll get trapped, and then you'll not be able to make a point because you'll be chasing a fucking rabbit.
Like Rory and Maul and Joe.
Right.
See? Little threads connecting
Right.
everything.
Bobbing and weaving baskets.
Joe. Which I will commend Joseph Budden. That man is a wordsmith. Like, he knows how to argue the fuck out of whatever the fuck it is. Even if he's right or wrong.
I like Joe.
Yeah.
He does some self-inflicted shit that may or may not improve him or not. We'll see. Future's gonna tell.
As a side note,
he did it with Complex. He's done it now. He's done it with other things. Slaughterhouse. He's done. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He's done it before.
I'm just saying. Aside from all that, his history with women is nasty. Like,
it is.
For the last 20, 25 years, every story I've read about him with women has been bad. When he was Undertaker, he's bad, bro.
Man.
I was like, bro, you gotta be tripping to be under some chick.
I'm not gonna talk about how he moves. I mean, he moves how he moves. And
he does, and that's the only thing. That's the only reason why I'm like, hey, this has to be an asterisk next to your name because that shit.
You know this. How do you interact with a person that moves that way? That's on you.
Exactly.
They have a pattern, a history. They show trends of behavior.
He can't escape that jacket.
He can't escape them funny hats now.
Oh yeah, them little dad hats. I'm like, damn, bro. We know you balding, bro. Just go ahead.
Hey, my shit gone, but I've been dealing with it.
It's all right.
Yeah, I'll just cut that shit off.
You get you a young tender, shit oil it up for you.
Right. Yep. Taking applications.
Oh yeah. Player gotta do his thing.
Hell yeah. But anyway, this is the dark side of things. We'll have more to come. Stay tuned. Thanks for being with us this far. Woodstock.
Hey, we really do appreciate you making it this far. Be sure to stay tuned.
All right. Peace.
Peace.